to the two speakers that we are having now. The first speaker is Miss Arjulayana. She is our English lecturer in our university for English study program. And our second speaker is Miss Marisol Marquez. Thank you very much, Miss Marisol. So, for your informations, that in Indonesia we are in the afternoon, but in Mexico it is at the midnight. Thank you very much for joining this webinar series. Okay, thank you very much for all the participants. Before we start our webinar series, Ms. Marisol and Ms. Arjulayana as the speakers, for your informations, that webinar series had been conducted by the university for 3 times, and this is the 4th time, and we are happy and we are glad having you around us. Before we start our webinar series, I'd like to give the opportunity to our head of study programs, Mr. Iqbal Firdaus, will give the greeting and also open our webinar series. For our uh, English study program, the head of English study program, Mr. Iqbal, you may open the webinar series. Time is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Abdu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Uh, the Honorable Dean of Teacher Training and Education Faculty, Bapak Dr. Enawar, SPDMM, who unfortunately cannot attend to this webinar, but he already told me that he feels sorry that he can attend, but he sent his best regard to all of you, and he's also yeah enjoy. Hopefully, you enjoy the seminar, the webinar, and then I would like to say thank you also to Marisol Marquez for joining to our webinar. It's very uh, pleasure to have you here, and then sharing knowledge about uh, was it a productive skill in during pandemic. Hopefully what we have in this seminar is very useful for the student. uh, most of the participant here is a student, but some also teacher and lecturer also. So yeah, what will Marisol or Mrs. Marquez give to us will be useful and give us advantage in our productive skill during pandemic. So maybe we can uh, was it produce something like writing or article or maybe anything others in related to English. So yeah, I think that's all for me. And then I officially open this webinar, and then uh, to all participants, hope you enjoy this webinar, and maybe next time we will also what's it we can invite Marisol again to speak in here in next webinar talking about uh, various things in education and language. Okay, thank you very much for all, and I say you wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Mr. Iqbal, as the head of English study program at UMT. Before we start our webinar series, I'd like to introduce you to our two speakers. They are amazing speakers, Miss Marisol Marquez and Miss Anna. Okay, I'd like to introduce you to Miss Anna or Arjulayana, her complete name. She was born in Lampung, Indonesia. She received her master degree from English education program in 2013. Her research interests about teaching and learning English. Now she is on processing to finish her doctoral degree in linguistics at University Jakarta. She is a practitioner. She did her research in educational and language as a foreign language range, English lecturer in University of Muhammadiyah Tangerang, University of Jakarta, and University of Muhammadiyah Jakarta. She's also active in Islamic Women's Society as the facilitator, and you all can reach her through her email address, arjulayana@umt.ac.id. Thank you, Ms. Arjulayana. And then our second speaker is Ms. Marisol Marquez. Okay, her complete name is Marisol Marquez Martinez. She is a Mexican. She was born in Mexico City. She was born on September 24th, 1985. She is a teacher, English training and certified for English teachers. Besides, she is also a bachelor degree in pedagogy. Currently, she is studying her master degree in education. She is an English teacher in two private schools in Colegio. Sorry if I pronounce the name of the school not correctly because it's in Mexican language. Colegio Aculmeto and Universidad Lucerna in Mexico State. And also some colleagues, and she just set up her own English school called Meraki English Schools. Good luck for the new school, Miss Marisol. Okay, before we start our webinar series, shifting from face-to-face learning into an online learning is very challenging. And our webinar series topic is how do we provide and how do we prepare the student or maybe the English teacher with some certain skills that can cope the certain challenge that they are having in distant learning during the pandemics. So I'd like to give the opportunity to Ms. Anna Toyer as the first speaker to give your presentation to our webinar series. Okay, Ms. Arjulayana, you may, time is yours to do the presentations.
Okay, thank you, Pak Abdul Almanar. Thank you for the time that you have already given to me. Let me share my PPT first. Abdul, could you please to help me? There's something wrong. I couldn't be able to share my PPT here.
Could you share the screen, Ms. Anna? Can you?
Yeah. No, I cannot share my screen here. Can you help me, please?
Okay.
Well, okay, thank you, Pak Abdul Almanar.
You're welcome.
Well, okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and also good night, Miss Marisol Marcus. Welcome to this webinar, and nice to meet you online here. Well, thank you, Pak Iqbal Firdaus, as head of Department English Department Muhammadiyah University of Muhammadiyah Tangerang. Thank you also for Pak Abdul Almanar as the moderators here. You have already given the time for me to present my material, and thank you for all the lectures that I couldn't be able to mention one by one of you has already participated here to support us, and all the participants. Welcome to this webinar. Well, as our planning and also our schedule that today we're going to share and discuss about productive skill. And in this session, because as we have know that productive skill divided into two things or two skill, there is a writing skill and also speaking skill. And in my material is talking about speaking skill. So here I just would like to talk about supporting students speaking skill in pandemic. As we know that during this pandemic, there are many things changed rapidly. Start from educational system, educational management system, and also social, economic, also social relationship, and many things. So that is why it is very important for us to share and discuss together about this during this pandemic. How we could be able uh, to discuss how we could be able to solve many kinds of problem regarding to our background of education or our background of work and anything. So we're going to discuss here. And talking about speaking, that will be talking about language also. Why speaking is very important and why language is important. As we know that speaking is a tool to communicate. When we have to communicate with somebody else, so we need tools to be able to use to be able to interact with other, and it is called language. So language is a tool to communicate when we have already knows one or more than one language. So of course means we know somebody else's identity also, because through the language we could be able to know their culture. Through the language also we could be able to know what the people's identity is. So that's the importance of language. Okay, Mr. Abdul, next. And then in this pandemic, as we know that there are many things changed rapidly. One of these is a teaching system. And being in an online teacher, it was quite different with a face-to-face teacher. Being an online student also, it was very different with face-to-face lectures. Why I say this? Because when we have to implement the online process or online learning, so means we have to be able to know the internet access, how we could be able to use website through the internet access, how we could be able to implement our knowledge online. So if we just be able to use internet just for fun, or just taking telephone or WhatsApp or text only, so means our digital literacy is not rise up. Now, when we talk about teachers in pandemic, so teachers should be able to access the website, any kind of website which is able to give information, information to think about something, information to add our knowledge, to add our literacy. And then teachers also should be able to creative. Yeah. Creative here means teachers not only focus on how they could be able to deliver their material, and then the student understand what they want to do, but the teachers should be able to create and stimulate their students to be able to creative and publish what they have already think and creative create something. That is why in this era also we have already knows about high order thinking skill, that the students should be able to analysis about something, and then student also have able to create something. So when they have already create something, mean they have already able to publish something, could be about article or any kinds of instructional media in teaching and learning. And then the next is information management. Yeah, why being a teacher should be able to know about the information management here, as we know that there are many hoax information. So as a teacher and student we have to be able to be wise, uh, is the information is correct or not. If it is not incorrect, so we have to be able to find something correct. As an academician we have to be able to find the theory or the results from many things online. Yeah, we could be able to download the journal, or as information English educational program in UMT, we have a journal we call Globis. So if you would like to know about something or would like to know about any kinds of reference regarding to the speaking, writing, reading, or listening, you could be able to download the article in that journal also. And the teachers also should be able to think of pedagogy. So they have to be able to show that they are a teacher. Even it is online, but they are a teacher. They have to be able to be instructor, facilitators, motivators, not only giving the material, then ask the student to do the task. Yeah. So that is why if even this is an online teacher, but you are a teacher and you are a learner, so you have to be able to know what should we do together to solve a process of teaching and learning and gain the objective correctly. And then learning environments. Learning environment, we have already knows that today we learned online, so we could be able to learning by doing from one student to another student story, one student to another discussing problems or how to get a problem solving regarding the online process of teaching and learning. And the others is about return home. We don't have to talk about this one actually because online we always at home. Then skill set for the 21st century is about digital literacy, I mean here, and then building a new paradigm. Building a new paradigm here is there are many students. I give you the example something like elementary students say, Miss, when we could be able to start to learn together here. Actually, the teacher has already started to learn, but it is online. But because of the student just think that they are learning if they come to the school, so they just think, they just ask when we could be able to learn, when we could be able to start to study. So that is why we have to be able to try to change the paradigm that learning process is not only at the school or classroom, but at home through the online it is a learning process also. So now we are implementing it. Next, Pak Abdul. Okay, as we know that there are four categories in learning language. Learning language is learning to drive, all right, especially for speaking. That we have to be able to need balance. We have already knows the theory how to acquire the pronunciation. We have already known the vocabulary. But we couldn't be able. But we don't want to practice it. So it is not balanced. That is why learning language here is a drive. We could be able to practice, and drilling. So it is the language learning process here. And then the learning language as a process mechanism through the drilling. So here we have to drill and practice, as I have already mentioned before. And then it is a habit or mechanisms. So when we have to practice our capability in language, especially in speaking here, we need to know the mechanism. First, what we have to do. The first, maybe we have to acquire the vocabularies, then learning how to pronounce it, and then we have a time schedule to memorize about something. Then we need to design minimum how many minutes we have to practice by ourselves every day to improve our skill. So it is the learning. Learning is simultaneous and integration. Yeah, that is why we just stop at the moment we have to stop to learn language or stop learning speaking. For example, we didn't practice our speaking. Automatically, our speaking skill will be decreased, and or maybe we have forgot many vocabularies. So that is why learning is simultaneous. uh, we don't have to run fastly to be able to keep learning, because we are going to think tired or easy to tired or feel bored if we don't have any time schedule. But we just need to continue and simultaneous. step one by one, or maybe today 2 minutes we need to learn, and then tomorrow 3 minutes, next day. So just like step by step, but it is simultaneous and continuity. Okay, and then why online learning? Why we have to implement online learning? As I have already talked before that this is a pandemic, so we have to implement the online learning now. But another reason, according to Miller and Danford, that learning online engage collaborative learning from many diversities, the traditional classroom. So through this online learning, we could be able to collaborative learning, just something like today. If we are not online, maybe it is very hard for us to learn and discuss together from someone from Indonesia, and then someone from Mexico, and also someone from Palembang, or with different countries and different cities. It was quite hard for us to sit together in one room. So through the online, it is easy for us, and then we could be able to collaborate together. And then to advocate learning and teaching quality through the fostering the professionals' capability as a resources of learning and tools to learning interaction. So that is why through the online learning also we could be able to advocate our quality in fostering our professional capability. Why I thought this is about the professional capability, because through the online we could be able to show that actually we have a digital literacy here and collaborative literacy. Okay, next. Sorry, how many minutes I have a time to present here, Pak Abdul? Okay, next, Pak Abdul. Well, okay. Why speaking? Talking about why speaking, actually there are many reasons, but I just take this one reason because I think this is very suitable for us in online process. Through the speaking, we could be able to interact our skill to construct the meaning with involve the production and processing information. So through the speaking also, people will be able to know how's your capacity, and then how's your skills capability. Because our skill only reading, and then we just be able to read and then comprehend something, and then we couldn't be able to pronounce something. So maybe people couldn't be able to trust us that actually we are able and knows English or foreign language here. Okay, next, Pablo. Well, talking about online learning, so there are two kind of online learning actually. We call asynchronous and synchronous learning. So that's also happen to speaking. When I teach my student in speaking model, so I implement the synchronous and asynchronous. I will use asynchronous when they have to be able to use Telegram, WhatsApp, or Google Classroom. So asynchronous is something like a student-centered teaching method. So the students are really acquire to be able to implement their capacity and capability to use the internet, and also to use the digital one. Uh, so for the example, I request my student to record their video or voice note or something like their processing of presenting their material or research. Then they have to record it through the video with the duration 10 until 15 minutes or 20 minutes. Then after that, I ask my student to submit it through in Google Classroom. So it is the asynchronous. Uh, when I use asynchronous means I could be able to open that student task not only one time but many times. This, for the example, this morning I could be able to open it, and then the afternoon or tomorrow or the next week I could be able to open it more and more. So I could be able to comprehend my student capacity deeply. And then the second one is synchronous learning. As we know that synchronous learning is refers to all types of learning in which learners and instructor are in the same place at the same time. Just something like today. It is that we are doing webinar now. So it is synchronous because in synchronous it is it held in the same time. So we could be able to use Zoom, teleconference, or WhatsApp, or Skype, or Google Meet, and also WebEx. So it is synchronous learning process. Here, I also use this model when I have to teach my student speaking skill because I could be able to see their speaking style directly, and after that, I could be able to give feedback at the spot time. And then the next is about how to speak easily. Well, talking about speak easily, actually, it is very important for us to learn speaking because sometimes when we have to speak something, we just think that, I forget, I don't want to speak something. Oh, I worried sorry, I worried my partner would like to love because of my pronunciation. So that is why it is very important for us to think about don't be afraid of making mistakes. So if you are going to speak about something, don't be afraid of making something because mistakes is a process to be truth. Okay, and then the next is about try learning some new words every day. So every day we have to acquire new vocabularies. For the example, we have a time schedule, something like on Monday, we have to be able to know the vocabularies about part of part of our body. And then on Thursday, we have to be able to learn about vocabulary related to the um, names of animal, for example, something like that. So it is the method or strategy. Yeah. And
Miss Anna,
then yes.
Miss Anna, you have 10 more minutes to present.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Abdu. Well, so I have to be faster. And then the third one is use simple sentence. So if you are going to speak about something, don't think about perfect continuous tense or perfect tense or any kinds of tenses which is make you get the obstacle easily. So you have to think that how to deliver the message, and then my partner could be able to understand what I'm talking about. And then listen to English language music. So it is very important for us to practice our pronunciation and also our listening process to be able to pronounce something correctly in our speaking skills. So listen English language music. And then the next is drilling and practice in front of the mirror. Yeah, it is very important for us because in front of people, it is hard for us to practice because we are worried that we do something wrong, or somebody else would like to loud us, or somebody else would like to bullying us when you have to speak something and it is wrong. So it is better for us to drill in front of the mirror by ourselves every day. It is good trick tips, I think. And then the next is about practice speaking English whenever you get a chance. So if you have friends from different country or different city, or they could be able to speak English, so you could be able to practice your English. And then try saying something extra, then learn from your mistakes. Learn from your mistake here is if you have pronounced about something and then somebody else say to you, hey Anna, sorry, your pronunciation is not really correct, so please change. It is not determined, but it is determined. So you learn from something like that. So next, when you have to when you have to pronounce it, it has already changed. And then the last is try some public speaking. So you have to be able to public speaker by yourself. Learn in front of the mirror is okay. Okay, next, Mr. Abdul. There. Well, speaking is not a dying art. It's one of the fundamental assets of every success person. Yeah, speaking is not something hard for us, but it's very fundamental asset because through the speaking we could be able to improve ourselves. We could be able to get something better for our future because somebody else will see that how is our capacity regarding to the foreign language skill. through the speaking is better. Okay, next. Well, thank you, arigato, and merci. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Miss Anna, for your presentation. So it was brilliant and amazing presentation from you. So for your information, said our webinar series participant is about 120, and I'd like to inform for the participants that question and answer session would be conducted after all the presenters presented the materials, and then now I will give the opportunity and the time for Marisol Marquez to deliver your presentations. Miss Marisol, could you share the screens from your computer or from my computer?
Yeah. Hello. Can you see my computer? My screen, sorry? Yes?
Yes,
Can you
very
see it?
clear, Miss Marisol.
Okay. Well, good afternoon there and good night, Mexico. Um, First of all, I would like to thank Annie for the invitation and thank you all of you. I'm so glad being here with all of you. Well, nowadays teaching and learning have been really challenging for us as teachers and students during this pandemic. Today, we are checking some platforms that we can use in our writing process. And so let's crack on. Well, first, we're focusing on three aims. What is writing? Second, writing process. And third, writing ideas and tips. But before starting, I want you, please, I will send you an activity. I will stop sharing my screen and I want you to go to this link. And this link, I don't know if you have seen it before, and I want you to click on it, just a minute. And please click on it. And we'll ask you for a code. And in capital letters, you have it all of you in the chat. And I want you to write, please, to describe with one word what is writing. Please, can you start? Tell me if you can enter, please.
We have to write our email first, is it?
No, only you need to click on the link.
Yeah.
As soon as you click on the link, ask you for a code and write my name, please. Just write Marisol and tell me with one word what is writing.
Okay.
Can you do it?
Okay, for all the participants, you may check
Yes.
the chat list, chat box. There is a link that you can click on the link and type Marisol, yeah, and then
Yes,
give
please.
your vote for what is writing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, please. So with one word, start writing it. Can you do it? Is it possible for you? Oh, perfect. Journey, you are started writing. Words, very good. Tell me more. Challenging, excellent. What else? Okay. Fantasy, exactly. Please, more words. Expressing idea, test, very good. Story, tell me more. Two more, and I continue. Okay. Critical thinking, very good. Love, knowledge, song, fun, challenging, exactly. Expressing happiness, excellent. Song. Okay. Great. Memory. Phrase, imagination, of course. Very good. So, let's stop now until here. You see, we started using what writing is. And let's continue with my presentation, please. So, we say that we have writing. What is writing for you? Can you see my screen? Yes? Well, we know that learning to write is not same as learning to speak. In writing, students should transfer their ideas and thoughts on a piece of paper. And what is writing? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, very clearly, Miss Marisol. You can continue.
Okay, thank you. So we have, just a minute, I'm having some problems with my presentation. Just a minute, please. Okay, now it is here. So, okay, writing. What is writing? Well, we know that it's a productive skill, which deal producing language more than obtain it. It's used for a wide variety of purposes, such as shopping lists, text message, notes, and descriptions. And according to Dorrit, writing involves self-expansion and creativity. It is important to bear in mind that it's a process. We need to plan what we are going to write, which I would consider three main issues. The first is the purpose of the writing, seeing its influences among other things. The second one, how it is laid out, the paragraphs are structured, formal or informal or neutral. And the third one, the content structure, the sequences, facts, and ideas and arguments. In addition, writing has sub-skills. And what a sub-skill is? Well, are specific behaviors the language users do in order to be effective in each of the skills. For instance, we have punctuating correctly, planning, linking, forming letter, paragraphing, using the appropriate layout, proofreading, and accuracy. Furthermore, we have writing process. According to Jeremy Hammer, we should follow this process. We have pre-writing. What is pre-writing? Well, brainstorming. You need to think very carefully of every possible thing, making notes, think our ideas through and organizing them. For example, when you are writing a story, you need to plan first. You need to start thinking of the characters and what happened, all the content that the story needs to have, and then we move to drafting. It's the first piece of writing. We can edit the numbers of draft. There is no one that you say, okay, I need to write the plan and then one draft. No, you can write any drafts until you get the final version. And you need to keep in mind that the process of writing is to teach students or to learn as a student how to write with coherence and appropriate grammar, structure, and spelling. And then we move to editing. Editing, we're focusing on reflecting and revising. You read through what you have written to see if it works or if it doesn't work. And then we move to the final version. In the final version, here you have edited your draft, making the changes. So it's ready to be shared. Also, you can replan, redraft, the times you need are necessary. Now, I'm sharing some ideas that you can use in your virtual classroom or you as a student. Writing ideas and tips. Well, we have write and improve. I really like using this platform. And is by Cambridge. You only need to sign in, you create your profile. And here what I like is because you have from the beginner to business and advanced students. And they tell you how many words you need to write according to your level. If you are a beginner, maybe you can write 25 words or 50. If you are an intermediate student, maybe you can start writing from 120, 180. And what I like is that as soon as you finish, you click finish, you click check, and it gives you the feedback. It tells you where you are correct. If you write correctly an adjective or an article or a noun, it tells you specific words. And then you check your progress. It, according to the Common European Framework of References, gives you your level if you are in A2, B1, B2, or a mix of levels. I really recommend it. You can, as a teacher, you can make a group, but you need to pay in order to have it. So you can use it free. You just send a link to your students and they register. So continue, we are using Padlet. I really love this platform. I love using it. And here, you create your Padlet, but before your students do the writing process. For example, my students here, they wrote a biography, but first they wrote in their notebook, and then they write it in the Padlet. And here, you can have all your students' writings. You keep the progress of them. And this is only for English writings, and they can see their classmates' writings, and they can do peer correction. And also, you as teacher, you can write their feedback. You can write a comment, or you can score them from 1 to 5, or just a like or a heart, or some stars as you decide. This is a really useful platform. Also, I use it for speaking for videos. They upload their videos, but now you can start with your writings. And another is a journal. I really like this one. This is by Pensu. And here they start writing. As it said, a journal. Journal has different purposes. And here you can download it, but you can share the link to your teacher, or the teacher can receive the links of their students. And it counts the words. I think it's a very useful tool. And we move to Storybird. I really love this one. This is, well, according to your students that you are a university students, you can use it. What I like about this platform is that they have the templates. If you want to write a story, you have the templates. They see the templates and they start writing their stories. And here you create your class, you give your class to your students, and they start writing. And if you want to download your book, you have to pay. But meanwhile, you can have it there as to keep it as a progress. And to move on, we have Pen Friends. Well, here you register. This is also by Cambridge. You register the total number of students, and then you decide how many students are going to take part of this activity. And you exchange letters. Also, one recommendation is that you can exchange letters with another colleague. You can talk to another teacher and you can start sharing letters. And I really recommend this activity because you can meet people from around the world. So now I would say that this is one advantage of the pandemic. And we have Pixton. I really love this one. Here in Pixton, students create their avatar. You as a teacher create your avatar, you create your group, you send a link to your students, and they start writing their comics. And they can write like 5 charts and they start having the templates. They choose the templates according to a topic that you have seen in class. They can write the comic. And something that I like about it is that you can download it and you can share it. It's a really useful. I really recommend it. And last but not least, you should consider this. Choosing the skills you will focus on and think, what level are my students, or what level I am as a student is very important. Why? Because sometimes we say you need to write a review and maybe my student is in A2 and he doesn't know the format or the content. He doesn't even have the enough grammar to do it. What is the average age? It's very important to identify the average age. How old are they in order to choose the activities? Do they need writing skills for specific reasons? Maybe it's an academic writing, a business, a college, an application, or something of their jobs. And what do you expect them to produce? They need to write an essay for an international exam, a description, a story, an article. And when you have all this information, move on choosing your activities and keeping track of their progress. So let's move to the tips. It's very important to keep it simple. Don't complicate your life and don't complicate a student's life. They need to be very creative, and you as a student, you need to be very creative. Keywords and phrases. What I recommend is to have a list of keywords that you can have, expressions that you can use according to the writing that you are doing. If you are doing an essay, you need to have some expression that they use for essays or stories. And pay attention if there is formal, informal, or a neutral writing. It's very important to know this. Above all, if you are preparing for an international exam, and read the right material. For academic writing, you need to read the right material. And also, as teachers, we need to show students how to write a story, how to write an essay, how to write an article, a journal. And check your own writing. It's very important that before deliver your writing to your teacher, you check your own writing. Just do the proofreading, because sometimes you start writing and then say it is here, but you don't realize of your mistakes. And somebody can check also your writing, and enjoy it and share it. This is the most important. When you write, you need to share it. So to conclude, in writing, we can share our ideas, feelings, or anything exists in our mind. And thank you for your attention. And I think that, I don't know if we have time or it is okay, or I finish my time, please.
Yeah, it is okay for you to finish the presentations. Thank you, Ms. Marisol Marquez, for your time presenting your materials about writing, and also introducing us some of the applications or platform that we could use to improve our writings. Okay, now all the participants, I'd like to open question and answer sessions. For those of you who have questions, so you may raise your hand, and then I will allow you to ask questions. Okay, for all the participants, do you have any question regarding to the two presenters? The first presenter is Miss Anna, and second is Marisol Marquez. Okay, you may raise your hand on the chat list, and then I could see, and then the operator will allow your mic. Okay, for all the participants, would you like to ask question regarding to the presentations from Miss Anna and also Miss Marisol Marquez? Give you the time. You may raise your hand and then allow you to open your mic and ask questions. Okay, we have one question from Salsabira for starter. The operator can open Salsabila mics. Okay, Salsa, you may ask questions to whom would you
Hello,
like to
Mrs.
ask?
Marisol. Nice to discuss with you, Mrs. I ask for you. I'm Salsabila Yari from Indonesia. I ask you how to boost our spirit in order to we can write again. Thank you.
Okay, the first question is from Salsa, how to boost our spirits, especially for writing, so we could write again. So maybe to improve our motivation in writing. Okay, that's the first question. The second question, you may, for participant, you may raise your hand. Okay, I think we could directly go to the first question from Salsa. This question is for Miss Marisa Marquez about how do we boost our motivation, especially for writing, Miss Marisol. So you may answer the question from the participants.
Hello, nice to meet you. Well, I would say that we can start writing a diary. It's something that I always do with my students. You can start doing with a diary the things that you do every day. And little by little, you can start writing. For example, you can use this platform of Storybird because the templates are very nice and you can start writing there. And I think it's a good motivation.
Okay, Salsa. Salsa, the answer is you may start writing a diary. So it is a good idea to boost your motivation, especially to start writing. Yeah, Salsa, is it clear for you?
Yes, Mrs. Thank you, Mr. Abdu and Mrs. Marisol.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Salsa. We have another question from Dia Supraba. So you may ask the questions, Miss Dia. Open your mic.
Okay, good afternoon in Indonesia. How about you, Ms. Marisol Marquez? Is it still afternoon or evening there?
It is night.
Oh, it is evening, yeah. Okay, good evening, Ms. Marquez. I am interested in using Padlet. Yeah, okay. So far, well, I'm not quite technology savvy, so I only know how to use what is it, Google Docs for collaborative writing. Okay, but now I see Padlet. Yeah, maybe it's kind of like a blog, is it? Yes. So can but it can be collaborative. So for example, one class we can have the whole website or something Padlet.com. I'm not really used to it. I haven't used it, so I'm not really familiar with it. So is it going to be like we have some, for example, my class have the same page, and then we share and post it there, or how? Yeah, actually, I don't really understand how is the procedure to use Padlet in the classroom. Can you give us more explanation how to apply Padlet in the classroom? Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Marquez, you may answer the question from Ms. Dia about
Yes.
the procedure technically for using Padlet.
Yeah, in fact, you can, teacher, you can use it in your classroom as a blog. You have to register and then you share the link and you can make it private. And you only share the link to your students and you decide if you accept, in this case, your students writing, or for example, I have one for videos only for speaking. So students record the video and then they upload it. So you can use it as a collaborative. Also, as I said before in the presentation, you can use it uh, as peer correction. They start writing and they can see their other classmates writing. I don't know if this answered your question. The procedure is very simple. You only need to register and send the link.
Okay.
And it is free and you only have 3 Padlets in this situation. And you, for example, you can use only one by writing. And if you keep it there, all your students writing, you have it there. There is no like amount or quantity or a specific number of writings that you can have. For example, in my Padlet, I have 119 writings that my students have been done. So I have, I work into schools and I use the same Padlet for all my students. And I consider it is a really good tool and are really useful.
Okay,
Okay,
thank
Miss
you,
Dia.
Miss Marquez.
Okay, thank you,
Welcome.
Miss Dia, for asking questions. Also for the answer, Miss Marquez. Okay, do we have questions? Do we have other question from the participants? You may raise your hand. We still have the time. Okay, maybe I'd like to start with Miss Anna. Miss Anna, during this pandemic, teaching would be a very challenging because teacher need to know some certain skills, especially how do we operate technology at the classroom. But if I could ask to Miss Anna or Miss Marisol, maybe we'll also answer the question. Is it possible for us to apply like a self-directed language learner? So it means it is like into an autonomous learning. So it is possible to conduct a self-directed learning in this distant learning or pandemic, Miss Anna?
Okay, thank you for the question, Pak Abdu. Well, it is very possible for us to implement the directed learning, self-directed, because as I have already talking about models of learning, synchronous and asynchronous before, that in asynchronous learning, we could be able to implement the self-directed learning. So it is the learner centers. So they could be able to create something in the process of learning, and then after create it, they could be able to share the link to their to their friends or their teachers. So it is very possible to implement it, Pak Abdul. Thank you.
What about Miss Marquez? Maybe we are talking about some of the platform that could support the learning. So maybe you mentioned like Storybird, and then Pixton, Pandu, and also Padlets. So maybe do you think that other platforms or maybe some of the application can replace the or maybe can change the atmosphere of maybe face-to-face learning with these platforms?
Well, I will say that it's quite difficult to answer because I understood that we cannot, we can focus on self-learning and we can use some of the platforms. For example, Write and Improve. Why? Because there in Write and Improve, you have the self-correction. The platform does it by you, so you don't need a teacher. But on the other hand, you need a teacher because a teacher needs to explain you why was incorrect, because it says, for example, you need an article here, but perhaps the students do not know what an article is or what kind of articles they can write. It's to guide these writings, and they can use it also by themselves, and they can become autonomous, and if they do the research later. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, it answered the questions. Platform is only the tools, but as Miss Anna said that it has to be, if Miss Anna said, it has to be synchronous learning. So it means there would be a virtual meeting with the students like we are having now in the webinar or conference that could actually give the students like a reflections toward the learning, which one is a mistake, which one is the weaknesses of learning, so we could actually conduct an online meeting with the students, between teacher and student. So do we have more questions before I sum up this webinar series? Okay, I think we could end the webinar series. Thank you very much, Miss Anna Tohir, for your presentation, and also Miss Marisol Marquez. Sorry that we should conduct the meeting in the afternoon, so you still stay up late because it is in the evening in Mexico. So let me sum up for the webinar today that it is very important for us to know some certain of the skills to conduct teaching and learning during the pandemic. Productive skill, which is speaking, and also writing, also one of the productive skill, should be implemented and also should be taught by the teacher to the student, even though it is in pandemic. But some certain platform or application could actually help the student to learn, facilitated by the teacher, and also to speak and to train our productive skills in speaking is also important. Especially Miss Anna said there are some of the point like improving our confidence, talking to the public, or maybe training our pronunciation with some certain application also could help our pronunciations getting better. At last, there are some of the platform that we could use as educators to improve our student English skills. But nevertheless, we should also conduct an online meeting with the students. Thank you very much for the presentation, Miss Anna and Miss Marisol. I hope from the participant could take some of the important points that during this pandemic, we could improve our skills. We could improve also our abilities to operate some technology in teaching. Thank you very much, Ms. Marisol Marquez and Ms. Anna Tohir. We hope that we could continue this webinar series for the next series, and also we can keep in touch in the field of educations. Thank you. I could end this webinar series. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, Ms. Marisol, and good afternoon for everyone.
Thank you.
And for the certificate for all the participants would be informed by the host and also by the universities. Thank you.
We didn't take the picture, Pak Aku.
Oh yeah, this is important. Maybe we could take a picture together, but Miss Marisol has left the meeting. Okay. Okay, we forgot one agenda is taking a picture. Okay, we can take together the picture. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Okay, see you again in the next webinar series. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.